We are back. Thank you so much to Jeffrey for keeping everything rolling here on Good Morning Artesia. Thanks, big thanks to Joby Hodling for filling in on Tuesday and Wednesday. We had a unplanned absence. Want to thank all the folks that reached out while we were gone and said, hey, you're not on the radio. Is everything okay? And I guess no. Everything wasn't okay. Anyway, what had happened was my mother-in-law, Lana's mom, Eunice, suffered a massive stroke on Sunday afternoon and passed away on Tuesday afternoon in Lubbock, Texas. So we had to make a quick run to Lubbock, and we were with Eunice there for a couple of days, and then until she eventually passed away as a result of the damage that was caused by the stroke. So she was 94, just a few weeks shy of her 95th birthday. She would have been 95 on Halloween Day at the end of October. So about a month and a half away from her 95th birthday. So we will have the funeral announcement. We met with David over at Turpening yesterday, and we'll have the funeral announcement out shortly, and with the information that's included with that. But not, I mean, it's been a while since Eunice has been on the radio. She would be on the radio on a weekly basis. When they moved to Roswell, she and Mr. Bill, they lived here for a little bit, I think. Lon and I were trying to remember all this, and then they moved to Roswell. Let me get that fixed right there. And one of the things she used to do on the radio was the movie review. They had like the dollar matinee at the theater in Roswell on Tuesdays, I think it was. And she and Mr. Bill would go to the movie and watch the movie, and then she would go home and sit down and write up her review of the movie, and then would come back. They would come down to Artesia on Wednesdays. I think they were. She came down on Wednesdays. I think Bill was here Monday and Wednesday and Friday, but Eunice would come down on Wednesdays. And she would come here in the studio, and we'd set her up, and she'd review some of the movies that were out at the time. So many of you may remember the movie reviews. Eunice loved to bake. That was her big deal. Matter of fact, is the everything for the soup is in the fridge right now, ready to go. We just have to put it in the pot and heat it up. She'd been getting everything prepared for a soup for lunch on Monday. And she was a big follower of the royal family. She'd been very intrigued by the coverage of the Queen. She was, what's amazing about the technology, and we did this yesterday morning when we were in Lubbock at the hotel. Lana would go over and we'd pull up on the internet or on the TV all the coverage of the Jubilee, the Queen's Jubilee and all that. And then with the Queen's passing here recently, they spent some time watching some of the process that was going on with the Queen. But we kind of dubbed Eunice lived out of Canyon Stone Apartments. She was independent, lived in her own apartment. She cooked her food, did her laundry, cleaned up around the house. Lana would check in a couple times a day. But Eunice was always baking. She was always baking something, whether it was cookies or brownies or pies or angel food cakes. And that's probably one of the things that we're going to miss the most is the food that Eunice would lovingly make. And there are a few folks here in town that are well aware of the cookies and the cupcakes and the angel food cakes and stuff like that Eunice would make from time to time. She even had requests for some of her baked goods. So brownies, yep, the brownies and the deviled eggs. Sometimes Lon and I, not often, but every so often, we'd get invited to gathering. Lon and I don't get invited to gatherings. I don't know if I'm just too much of a presence when I walk in the door. I'm being a jerk. But she would make devil's food eggs, and it's like that's kind of a lost art. And a lot of what Eunice baked was a lost art. So much of what we do now, when you get invited to anything, is you run by the store, and you go through the cake aisle or the donut aisle or whatever, and you grab something. You can grab some potato salad or chips or stuff like that. And so it's not often that people take the time to bake cookies or bake cupcakes or do things like that. Some people do, obviously. That's still that's still done, but it doesn't seem to be done as frequently or as often as maybe times past, and that's what Eunice loved to do. So I think what was kind of rough on her about a year and a half ago, we talked about Button the Beagle, and Lana and I had joint custody of the Beagle with Eunice. They'd gotten the Beagle not long before Mr. Bill got sick and passed away. That was her husband, and so Button was there with Eunice after Mr. Bill passed, and then when Button died here about a year and a half ago, that was kind of a sad time for Eunice. She didn't have her dog anymore, and we didn't get another dog just because of her age and health and our schedule, and who's got time to potty train a dog right now. So that was kind of a sad thing. But that's why we were gone for a couple of days. We were with Eunice after she had her stroke and was flown to Covenant in Lubbock, and that's where she passed away on Tuesday afternoon. So we'll get the funeral announcement out here soon, and then we'll let everybody know, and we'll read it here on the radio, and we just appreciate all your thoughts and prayers. I had a few folks reach out while we were in Lubbock, and heard from a lot of you that where's Gene? Gene's not on the radio. What's going on? And that's what was going on. So again, thanks to Jeffrey and Joby for filling in for the last